Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our discussion in elementary statistics and probability. But before we dive into our discussion proper, let me first refresh you with our vision and mission of our beloved institution. Our mission, the Nawan Institute seeks to establish a culture of intellectual competence, environmental awareness, and socio-civic responsibility. The Nawan Institute commits itself to the formation of disciplined and enlightened minds. The Nawan Institute aims to help build a nation of great men and women who shall be accomplished and decorated in their fields. And the vision, the Nawan Institute envisions itself to be a world-class institution dedicated to higher learning and modern research. It hopes to contribute to the humane and holistic development of the Filipino youth through top-tier quality education. The Nawan Institute strives to produce socially and morally upright individuals in a globally competitive environment. So, our topic is the introduction of variables and the summation notation. But first, we should realize our objectives. After discussion, we or you should be able to determine different types of variables, to be able to determine different properties of summation notation, and to familiarize and write a finite sum using summation notation. Our topic for tonight is variables and the summation notation. Our topic is the introduction of variables and the summation notation. Since it is our first discussion, what is statistics? Statistics is a branch that deals with the study of the collection, analysis, interpretation, organization, and presentation of data. Mathematically, statistics is defined as the set of equations which is used to analyze the things. Or in short, it generalizes the collected sample data. Hence, the types of statistics are categorized based on its features. And what are these features? The descriptive and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics is where the data is summarized through the given observations. The summarization is one from a sample of population using parameters such as the mean or standard deviation. Descriptive statistics is a way to organize, represent, and describe a collection of data using tables, graphs, and summary measures. For example, the collection of people in a city using the internet or using television, while the inferential statistics is used to interpret the meaning of descriptive statistics. That means once the data has been collected, analyzed, summarized, and then we use these statistics to describe the meaning of the collected data. Inferential statistics is a method which allows us to use information collected from a sample to make decisions, predictions, or inferences from a population. It grants us permissions to give statements which goes beyond the available data or information. Or we can say that inferential statistics is used to draw conclusions from the data that depends on random variations such as observational errors, sampling variation, and more. For example, deriving estimates from hypothetical research. We all know that most of mathematical equations contains variable. But what is variables? In mathematics, a variable is an alphabet or term that represents an unknown number. The variables are especially used in the case of algebraic expression or algebra. The variable is a quantity that can be changed or which is not fixed according to the mathematical operation performed. Usually, In algebra, we express an unknown number using the term x and y, but this is not a particular and we can use any alphabet. Variables can be classified as qualitative and quantitative variables. Qualitative variables is categorical that take on values that are names or levels. For example, the color of a ball, like red, green, blue, or the breed of a dog, it can be collie, shepherd, terrier, would be an example of qualitative or categorical variables. While the quantitative variables are numeric. They represent a measurable quantity. For example, we can speak of the population of a city. We are talking about the number of people in the city, a measurable attribute of the city. Therefore, population would be a quantitative variable. Quantitative variables can be further classified as discrete or continuous. If a variable can take any value between its minimum value and its maximum value, it is called a continuous variable. Otherwise, it is called a discrete variable. To make it simple, discrete variables are countable. For example, the number of students in Tanawan Institute. It might take you a long time to count the last item, but the point is it's still countable. And continuous variables would literally take forever to count. For example, is the time.
Variables can also be measured. So how a variable is measured is also called as the level of measurement. So we have four types of level of measurement. So we have nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. So the first one would be the nominal level scale of measurement. So it is often called labels. So it is used to labels variables that do not have quantitative values. So best examples are our personal information such as gender, complexions, eye color, and etc. So when it comes to ordinal level of measurement, it is simply labeling the variables in order. So for example, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. So the next level would be the interval level of measurement. So when we talk about interval, it is a numerical scale of variables which orders are shown as well as the difference between these variables. And an interval level of measurement, so 0 holds something of value. So 0 is not literally 0. So for example, temperature. So when we talk about temperature, 0 degrees Celsius doesn't mean that it do not have any temperature. So for the last level of measurement, so we have the ratio level of measurement. So it is basically the same as interval level of measurement, but their main difference is that in ratio, 0 means nothing. So 0 is typically 0. So best examples are height, weight, and the likes. So let's talk about summation notation. So summation notation is simply a concise and very convenient way to represent long sums. So instead of writing 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10, we can use summation notation to simplify the equation. So when writing the summation notation, we use the sigma as a symbol for the summation. On the top of the sigma is the upper limit, the bottom would be the lower limit, and on the side of the sigma would be the element. So since summation notation is just the simplification of long sum, so we might as well talk about what are the properties of summation notation. Constant property of summation. So when we do summation on a certain constant, we can just rewrite it as constant multiplied by n, since we are just adding the constant the same number as its upper limit. So example would be our c would be 8 and our n, which is the upper limit, is 5. So when we do the long sum of the summation of 8 with the upper limit of 5, so we will do 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. So instead of rewriting that, we can just rewrite it as 5 times 8. Additivity property of summation. So when we are doing summation of two terms, we can just first break them down into summation of the first term plus the summation of the second term. So first find the sum of the first summation and then the second summation and then add them up. Linearity property of summation. So we can observe that it is somehow a combination of additive and constant property of summation. So in the formula being used in this property, we have the summation of A, which is a constant, multiplied by F terms, plus B, which is another constant, multiplied by G terms. Constant multiple property of summation. So this is just what we just did in our linearity property. So when we are doing the summation of a constant multiplied by terms, so first we must do the summation of terms, and then when we come up to its sum, then we multiply it with its constant.